You're listening to Impulse to Innovation. The Institution of Mechanical Engineers podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Helen Mees. As a global community of mechanical engineers with over 120,000 members in 140 countries, the Institution of Mechanical Engineers has been at the heart of the engineering profession since 1847. The institution's mission is to improve the world through engineering by sharing the latest news, views, and insight into the creative world of technology and the people that make it happen. Hi everyone, and welcome to our broadcast live from the side of Silverstone. I can't believe I am sat trackside. I'm hoping I can hear Syed, who's chatting away in the next room.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can.
Fantastic.
How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Don't we have the most amazing view?
We're literally trackside at Silverstone at the moment. Dream come true. Really lovely.
It is amazing. We are looking over the track. We can see lots of people going past on track days, which is really awesome. And I'm also looking across at the Silverstone UTC, which is an amazing facility. I didn't realise that this had been built here. And obviously there are a lot of really talented young engineers and apprentices training over there to become the future of engineering. So what a great place to be. We have been out and about today. Clearly, because of where we are and what's happening, we are not at full capacity here at Silverstone this year with Formula Student, but suffice to say, it is going down an absolute storm. There are teams from most of the UK represented here, and they are full of it. It is just amazing. The atmosphere down on the trackside is incredible. Now, over the last few days, they have been essentially going through all the checks, making sure that everything is working properly. And over the next day or so, they're going to be now taking the cars out on to do an endurance race. So it's at that critical point where everything is to play for. So we're hopeful that we're going to have a few special guests to talk to today. But Syed, tell me what you're thinking. What has today really been about for you? It's your first visit, right?
Yes, very much so. Just seeing the events, all the students, seeing everybody, literally just setting up their cars, and it's just fantastic. I mean, I'm going to be, obviously you and I were around the grounds earlier, just interviewing people, talking to people, and just you can just see how dedicated and how they're just so sort of all right, got to get this bolt and this engine and laptops, and it's all go here at the moment. It's just amazing atmosphere and the buzz just around the place. Yeah,
I'm glad you're really enjoying it, because I've been here a few times, and so obviously it is quite different at the moment, but it's just such a wonderful feeling to see so many engineers in one place, all really getting into the whole spirit of things. So I'm really pleased that you've been able to kind of experience that. I should say for our guests, for our listeners today, actually, that you don't often get to hear this voice. Syed is the IMechE's audio-visual engineer. He is the background and the backbone of our podcast when we broadcast it. He does all of the sound, makes it all sound really, really cool and awesome. So it's a real pleasure to actually have him on the show today and be sort of part of this. So thanks for joining us, Syed. Now, I can see through the window that we've got a guest.
Let me introduce. We have Sam Collins. He is in fact, I will allow Sam to introduce himself. Here you go.
Well, I'm Sam. I'm the commentator for Formula Student and have been, forever, it seems like. But I'm also, you probably know me better from Formula One. I'm the guy with the silly hair that turns up and tells you about how Formula One cars work on F1 TV every weekend. So it's been 4 days since I was at the circuit.
Sam, thank you so much for joining us. I'm feeling slightly awestruck, actually, that you do this amazingly cool job for your everyday life, and I just mess about with our little podcast here. But thank you really for coming in and for giving us an idea of what it is you do. I mean, this must be quite different, obviously, to what you do for Formula One. But do you think that this kind of event is a real precursor to the kind of for young people to get into Formula One as professional engineers?
Oh, it's not about thinking. I know that that's the case. 100% know that that's the case. Because people, when I did Formula Student, or was involved in building one of the Formula Student cars many, many years ago, people from that year I now see every weekend in the Formula One garages and in the Formula One paddock. They're the engineers who design, build and work the cars in every single team. I mean, to be honest, there's people down here in the garages, in the paddock now at Silverstone. I know for a fact a decent number of them will be working on Formula One cars and in Formula One teams, not just Formula One, Le Mans cars, touring car teams, everything like that, in the coming seasons and years. And I'll get to see many more of them for their entire careers. One of the best examples, actually, is some of the guys in the Mercedes race garage. So Andrew Shovlin, who is, you hear his voice on the radio. He's the key race performance guy for the Mercedes Formula One team. He started out here doing Formula Student. Well, it wasn't actually at Silverstone back then. It was in a car park in Birmingham. But some of the judges are Formula One engineers. That's something that's unique to this competition. You walk up and down this pit lane right now, you will find Formula One engineers looking over the work of the students. But they're not just looking over the cars. They're thinking, this kid, he's got some talent. Make a note of their name and they might get a phone call in a few days' time.
I think that's the real great thing about this particular competition, isn't it? That it's just it's a breeding ground for really demonstrating what you can do as an engineer, and it builds that rolling passion of what it is to be an engineer. I think it doesn't matter what discipline you go into, but here it seems to breed this wonderful passion for a career in engineering, and I think that's what's really great about Formula Student and about some of the other competitions the institution does, but certainly this one here at Formula Student. So you took part in this many years ago and have kind of moved into the broadcasting side and thing, but you clearly still not lost your passion for this. So what is it when you come to Formula Student? What is it you really enjoy the most about seeing when you come here?
It's actually the same as I love about Formula One, but Formula Student is actually a higher level of it, because Formula One, you've got very restrictive rule book. Yeah, you've got enormous budgets and hugely talented teams of engineers. Formula Student, you've got a massively open rule book and extremely talented engineers, but inexperienced engineers. So they're willing to try new things, willing to learn and make mistakes. And you see up and down the pit lane, you'll see really different philosophies of cars, really bright ideas, really nice ideas that sometimes don't always work out. But it's so wonderful to see so many different ideas, so many different solutions being tried to the same problem. It's pure engineering competition, and I absolutely love that. But more than just the pure engineering, I think Formula Student, it's really important to point out, Formula Student teaches young engineers skills that no university has ever been able to adequately capture. It's the project management, it's the teamwork, it's the having to raise money, having to present that project to people you don't know. Those skills are really hard to pick up in university. Coming here in a competitive environment, that's such valuable lessons. I think if you want to get a job at high-end engineering, and I'm not just talking Formula One here, I'm talking everything from the nuclear industry to the railway industry, any high-level engineering job, you have Formula Student on your CV and you know what your project was and you know what you're talking about, that's pretty much a strong guarantee, at least, of an interview.
Absolutely. And in fact, when I arrived here today, there was a young gentleman sitting in the chair next to me as I came in through the door, and he was actually in the process of having an interview, and I kind of walked straight in on that. So it just goes to show that while you're on the job, you can still be getting job interviews in that respect. Sam, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day today to fill us with your passion and enthusiasm for this wonderful sport, this wonderful event. It's been really great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to point out, anybody who's listening, this event is live on YouTube over the weekend, and you'll be able to watch it on demand afterwards as well on the IMechE channel. I think we'll be able to give details of that. I can't actually remember what the URL is, but we'll be able to hear that quite shortly.
We are more than happy to post that up on the site and in the Twitter feeds and so on. So yeah, that's absolutely fine, Sam. Thank you ever so much. What a great start to our podcast. I'm joined by Will, and I'm just going to stick Will on. Hi, Will. It's Helen. How are you doing?
Hi, Helen. Good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Now, I know that you're down in the pit lane at the moment, but can you just introduce yourself to our show as our guest today?
Sure. So I'm Will Snyder. I'm working currently for I2I Automotive. So we're here in the pit lane with our tent. I am a former student alumni from 2012 when I worked with University of Bath. And I've worked in the engineering industry since I graduated. So I did a few years with Triumph Motorcycles, designing their engines, and then a few years with Mercedes HPP, doing their engines. And now I work in simulation.
Fantastic. And yet another of our guests who has been part of Formula Student, before, as well as, now getting involved in it as one of the sponsors. So can you tell us a little bit about the reason why your company is so keen to sponsor this event and what it means to you as a business?
Yeah, absolutely. So the key thing for us is to make sure that students leave their university with a real good appreciation for the tools that are actually used in industry. Within industry, simulation is being used more and more and more to try and reduce our dependency on real prototypes. So our main goal is to make sure students come out with an appreciation of simulation and how it can be used to develop products.
The whole purpose really is for you to get a feel of what they can do professionally. But what is it you're looking for? Obviously you're kind of touring the pit lanes. You're seeing some of the students. Are you looking at the recruitment opportunities while you're here? To see. We've just been talking to Sam, who says this is a great opportunity for Formula One teams to be recruiting. But is that the same sort of thing for you?
I'd say it's the same throughout industry. Even if you're not in the automotive industry, the skills you gain from being in Formula Student are just such good skills to advertise yourself to prospective employers. We're always recruiting, however, not in the UK at the moment. We're actually recruiting through our headquarters in Germany more than the UK. Unfortunately, we recently filled our last role in the UK.
Right. Well, at least that's nice to know that you're all full and that you've got as many students as you can take on this year, which is great to know. I asked Sam the same question, but you've clearly continued your passion for this as an industry going into work after you've done Formula Student. What for you was the highlight of taking part as a student back then?
I've always loved motorsport, so it's great to be involved at such an early age. But for me, it was, you learn a lot of theory in lectures, and it's all good stuff to learn. You can read lots of textbooks. But Formula Student is a real opportunity to put that into practice. And I feel like putting it into practice is where that's really cemented in your knowledge, and you gain so much experience. I feel like you come away knowing more from doing Formula Student than you do from your lectures sometimes. Probably shouldn't say that, but I learned so much doing it.
I think there's no accounting for getting your hands dirty and being able to do something practical. I was too late in my degree to take part. I'm quite old these days, so I never got a chance to take part. But I think had it been around when I was a student, I definitely would have been something that I would have wanted to do, because you just have that opportunity to learn how to really make things work and what happens when things fail and can fail catastrophically, and being able to do that and play around with things and fix things can really make a difference to your understanding, can't it?
Absolutely. When you're doing projects at university, it's very easy to either it doesn't actually have to work. Let's put it that way. You can do your report, you can do your CAD models and everything, and you assume that it's going to work. when you're doing Formula Student, you're actually going to build those parts. You're actually going to put someone in that car and they're actually going to drive it. And that's a real motivator for you to really seriously look at the engineering and make sure that you've done it all correctly. And it gives you a deeper dive into what's required for a real design. And for me, that's just invaluable when you're learning engineering.
Yes, I mean, what we have to remember is that the things that we do as engineers can kill people, can hurt people, and we have to make sure that we look at every aspect of it through modelling and through simulation, so that we can iron out all of those problems, can't we? So this is a real test of understanding the safety and risk associated with engineering as well, isn't it?
100%, yeah, and that responsibility is something you have to take really seriously. And I always find like the way I learn is best to put things into practice. So you're really, really genuinely putting this into practice, and it just cements that knowledge that you built up over the last few years at university.
Well, thank you, Will, ever so much for joining us, and I really appreciate you taking the time to give us your views and thoughts on the whole programme. So thanks ever so much.
You're very welcome. Have a nice day.
Now we are joined by Wayne Morse, actually, from BMW Group. Wayne, can you hear me?
I can, Helen. Can you hear me?
I can, and coming through loud and clear. That's wonderful.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I've just been talking to Will from just the tent next to you, actually.
Yeah, I was listening intently, no pun intended, because it sounds like we have some common ground.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I suppose the same question for you really is, what value is it for BMW to be a sponsor of the event, and why do you feel it's important to be here trackside today?
Well, my responsibility and my team who are here are focused on bringing in passionate students and graduates for our programs commencing in 2022. So ordinarily, I guess, pre-COVID, we would be trudging around various university careers fairs, selling our wares, explaining what opportunities we had. But since COVID, we've been more targeted about the quality we bring in rather than the quantity in terms of the applications. So we felt that Formula Student, the event itself for this year, dipping our toe in the water here and seeing what it would bring in if we targeted the captive audience that is the potential candidates for pretty much all of the roles that we would be recruiting for starting in the middle of next year. Engineering, but also business roles, project roles, logistics, finance, purchasing, all of those are key elements of the Formula Student process. And they're all roles that we're looking to fill come July and September for interns and graduates next year. So we felt we hadn't been to this event before. Let's come along, see what it's all about. We engaged with Dan Anglin, who's kind of our reference point for the event. And we're kind of experiencing it firsthand. We're already learning what we would do differently next time, how we might approach things differently next time. And maybe next time it's a bigger event. Obviously, it's a slightly reduced one due to the pandemic, as we know. But we're just sort of finding our way through the event. And what we're looking for, pretty much like the other guys have said, is people that are passionate about what they want to do as a career, but they also do that in their spare time as a hobby, and they marry the two, and hopefully at some point they can bring some of that passion into our workplace. But not just the passion, I guess it's kind of their team spirit that they develop during the Formula Student experience, and working across different disciplines with different capabilities. All of those things, different perspectives, they're the sort of things we want to bring into our organisation.
Well, you make a good point there, actually, Wayne, because, and I wanted to come back to something you said before. It's not just about the engineering skills, is it? It's about the project management, the teamwork, the data analysis. All of those things go together to make a rounded employee within your business, within other companies. So it's not just about training them to be hands-on engineers. It's about training them to be multidisciplinary. So that's something that clearly, from what you said, is very important to BMW.
Yeah, it is, because we recruit not only for our manufacturing plant. So my responsibility covers Rolls-Royce Motor Cars down in Goodwood, where we probably have more engineering, sort of pure bespoke engineering type roles up for grabs in terms of our internships and graduate roles. I guess if we move away to sort of Oxford, where we make the Mini, and Hamshall, where we make the engines for BMW and Mini cars, you're looking at maybe engineering-based roles, but they're kind of like vehicle integration, vehicle analysis type roles. So we're getting away from more design, if you like. And then if we look at Farnborough, where our UK sales office is, that's more kind of financial services, sales roles, finance roles, that kind of thing. So yeah, we want the whole gamut, and even in some of the more engineering focused roles, some of the skills, some of the attributes that non-engineering based candidates could bring in will be valuable. So it's not a square peg square hole situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hope over the next few days, obviously you said this is kind of like a first time for you sort of thing. What are you hoping to see over the next few days? What's really caught your eye so far, and what's got you really excited about the kind of finale towards the weekend?
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, stand down my recruitment responsibilities. I want to see what the karts can do. I've spoken to a lot of the teams, understand the capability, heard the stats, want to see them in action now. So I'm keen to see that starting tomorrow. And I guess with my recruitment hat back on, I've got round over the last couple of days a lot of the garages and a lot of the guys waiting for scrutineering, had the chats and handed out the cards and explained the roles we've got. So I guess in the last couple of days, I'd like to steer people towards our gazebo, which is opposite the electric vehicle garages, opposite 10A and 10B to be precise. If you have any interest in becoming a student or a graduate of BMW Group or Rolls-Royce for middle of next year and beyond, come and see us and have a chat and see what we might have to offer, see if we can find something that suits you.
That's fantastic. Well, I wish you a fantastic rest of the weekend. I hope you really enjoy the racing tomorrow. It looks like it's going to be a great day and some great weather. So enjoy the time that you're here.
Thanks very much, Helen. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers,
bye, Wayne.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
I was going to say, we are very fortunate. We have Andrew Deakin, the chair of Formula Student.
Thank you. Are you roving about the building, Syed? Is that what's going on?
I'm roving around the building, and very fortunately, we have Andrew Deakin here, who's the chair of Formula Student, who I'm going to just pass over to right now.
Andrew, you must be the busiest fella in the building. Thank you ever so much for joining us, and what an event so far. How are things going for you?
Yeah, all superb, thank you. It's a really, really good event and some nice weather for a change, although that might change for the weekend, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it'll make it quite interesting if we do get a bit of rain over the weekend, doing the long test for the vehicles, seeing how they cope in the wet.
Absolutely, and test the driver's skill as well with the wet weather on the track. Always makes it tricky and exciting action.
Yeah. So what exactly is your role here as chair of FS? What do you do in terms of getting this incredible show on the road?
For me, really, it's just sort of trying to make sure the direction is going in the right way for the long-term sort of future of the event. I've been involved in this for as a competitor since 1993, before it came to the UK. And I've been involved in the organisation of Formula Students since the first competition back in 98. So having done that and then done various roles throughout the organisation of the competition, my key interest is making sure that the future of Formula Student is always going to be bright. We're doing the right things, going in the right direction, and attracting the right students and making sure we've got the graduates, etc., for the future of the automotive industry and engineering in general. Because that's what industry is going to need, and that's why we've got the FSAI project going on, where the students are designing the code to drive the cars around the track, and the EV teams, where obviously 2030 all cars need to be have some form of electric in them. So these engineers are going to be the future ones to make that happen and enable British industry to succeed.
Absolutely. And I was going to ask you about that, moving things forwards and driving Formula Student. I mean, it's not like it was when because that must have been one of the first events that you took part in in the UK, and so obviously things have moved on. Technology is moving on. What do you see as going to be the future of Formula Student in terms of the driverless vehicles, electric vehicles, and so on? Can you see other technologies coming in that the students might have to develop or get involved in?
Yeah, potentially. We're always open to that. I mean, hydrogen is an interesting topic at the moment. Formula One are talking about that as a long-term future. But actually, Formula Student, we had a hydrogen car back in 2009 as one of the entrants. So we've already been there and had some experience of that. It'll be interesting to see if that's a route to go down in the long term, if that's a requirement for industry. But equally, the sort of key thing about the project is making good engineers or enabling good engineers to be developed. So whilst it's really good for them to learn about the technology as part of that, that's not necessarily the real key driver behind this from my point of view. It's more about exposing engineers to project management skills. If their car's not here today, if it wasn't built in time, then they missed the race. It's quite simple. So to have that sort of goal as an engineer set very early in your career where you're in charge of that goal, whereas in industry you may be 30, 35 before you've got a management position to have those sort of requirements to your job. So it's setting that understanding of project management right at the beginning of someone's career is going to be invaluable. And that's a real differentiator, I think, between the students that graduate from Formula Student and those that graduate with just a degree course where they've done a project or a simple group project. Delivering a car is going to be a real challenge for a lot of them. It really is very much like real-world engineering.
It is, and I think it is an eye-opener for many young engineers who come into this and think, oh yeah, okay, it's just another project, and then they realise just the involvement, the time-consuming, all-consuming part of the process of actually delivering a major project on time and in budget. And those challenges are something that, as you rightly say, sometimes you don't get to experience until you're well into your career. So being able to demonstrate that to a prospective employer can make a real difference, can't it, on your CV?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I looked after the Leeds team, and that's nearly 20 years ago, at the start of the year, we'd had a team of 60 students. So actually, in my career since then, I've not had a responsibility for a team that large. Getting on towards that large, but that may be the only time in my life I have that sort of level of responsibility. So yeah, it really is good and good to expose at least some of the teams to that level of responsibility. Have to think about things, not just the engineering, but budget and project planning and all the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, this is a much reduced event. We're missing some of our international colleagues this year and things. But what are you looking forward to the next year? Because obviously, you're probably even not taking a breath and getting into the planning for next year while this one's running. So what are you hoping to be able to do next year with Formula Student?
Yeah, well, hopefully we can get it back to the size it's historically been, with 80 plus running cars and another 40 concept class teams, so 120 universities on site. It'll be really good if we can do that again. See what happens as the world changes. And then we'll have Learn to Win, which we run every year, which had to be virtual last year, but we normally get 500 or so students together at a venue in the Midlands to talk through the competition. So this will be all the new graduates who are about to start the design of the next car, get them all together, go through all the technical aspects of the car, answer all their questions and that sort of thing. So that's our next job straight after this. We'll be planning that event. Is it going to be a live event with face-to-face communication with the judges and the experts, which I hope, or will it have to be a fully virtual event again, which is the fallback position, but we'll do whatever we can to give the students the best experience and learning from that event to help prepare them for the rest of the year, where they've got to then go away and design and build their cars ready for next year.
Well, Andrew, I can't imagine that without the passion that you have for this, that it would be any less than this amazing event that it already is. So I wish you luck for the rest of this weekend. It looks like everything's running pretty smoothly out there. So, it's been great to have a conversation with you and also to see what comes next for Formula Student next year. Thank you ever so much for joining us.
Thanks very much. Pleasure talking to you.
Well, Syed, I don't know about you, but I feel exhausted.
Absolutely. It's definitely kicking off here, obviously in race control. I am, as you said, roving around the building. Everyone's very active. I don't know. Let me put someone else on. Right, we've got a live podcast going. Who's going to volunteer to share some comments? We have Rob Porter here at the moment. He's going to give a few comments. Handing over to Rob. What are your thoughts?
Right, so Rob Porter, Head of Events and Member Engagement at the IMechE. My thoughts are that this is an amazing achievement this year to be able to put on this event, despite all of the challenges that we have been facing, and despite the fact that it looked at one point like we were not going to be able to run this event at all. So it's tremendous. It really is a tremendous achievement for all that have been involved for my team and beyond. And it feels like a normal Formula Student, but one which just has a few more face masks, really, and a few fewer teams. So, yeah.
Well, Rob, I have to say, I mean, a lot of people don't see you and the team that put a lot of the work in to do the event side of this and the public facing side of it. We should give you kind of a round of applause, really, for. I think I've got a special effect on here that let me do. I'm gonna find it and give you. I better not hit. There we go. Yay! Round of applause for the team. You have been utterly amazing. I don't know how to turn it off now. Oh my goodness, it's going again. Anyway, we'll talk over the claps. So, yeah. I mean, you guys have done. It is crazy. I can't even begin. It sounds like we're at Formula One and all of that. You guys put so much effort in throughout the year as members of staff within the IMechE. And obviously, this is not necessarily your bag. As engineers, we get excited about it because it's just engineering. Yeah. But, you guys are really dedicated to putting this together. I mean, what do you enjoy the most about Formula Student?
I think if you asked everyone that question, you'd probably get the same answer, which is the infectious enthusiasm and budding professionalism of the teams that are involved. It is you can't be a part of this event and not have a smile on your face walking out from it, because just to see the amount of effort that the teams have put into it and the amount of joy that they feel when things go their way, and then the pain they feel when things don't, but the determination that they have to push through that and turn it all around is just amazing. And everyone loves working this event because of that, really, because it's just amazing experience for everyone involved.
I think you're right. The passion that everybody feels, and the ups and downs. I got here earlier on, and I was telling Syed that we'd recorded some pieces from the UAS challenge a few weeks ago, and there was this wonderful moment in the recording where the students' plane took off and everybody cheered, and then there was this sort of moment, and then this as it came crashing to the ground,
the highs and lows. Yeah.
And it was not just the team whose plane it was, but all of the teams. They were really committed to helping each other, and I think there really is a camaraderie that goes across all the garages, isn't there? That really fills everybody with this kind of spirit of kind of enthusiasm and passion.
That's right, and none of the teams want to see any of the other teams fail. They just want their team to be better. I think that's that's so inspiring. And I was saying yesterday, our new chief executive Alice Bunn came to came to visit yesterday, and I was talking to her about it, and I didn't do a STEM degree, I did a humanities degree, and I said to her, I can't imagine myself ever having worked as hard and with putting so much of myself into any project that I did at university. And I think that's one of the amazing things about people who get into STEM and particularly engineering is a real burning desire to change the world and make it a better place. And they don't do it because of the money or because of anything like that. They do, take these subjects and study them to the level that they do and take part in all the activities they do because they love it and because it's a part of a higher purpose. And that's what I mean by infectious, that kind of thing.
Wow, you're kind of making me slightly emotional now. I think that is a wonderful point to end our podcast on because, it is all about, changing the world and improving the world through engineering as the IMechE is want to do. And I think that's what every member of the institution really wants and is passionate about. But we couldn't do it without you guys, the staff, helping us to achieve that as members. So thank you from us on behalf of the membership for all your hard work over the last few days. And also a massive shout out to the scrutineers, the judges, the helpers, the cleaners who I've seen cleaning and disinfecting things outside. Thank you so much to Silverstone for supporting this event continually throughout the last few years. It's just superb, and everybody just gets together and makes it such a great day. So thank you ever so much for giving us your thoughts on that. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Helen. Can I just add one shout out to that, please, in particular?
Of course.
To Lucy Killington, who's the Formula Student Project Manager. She has been doing this event this is her 5th year now. It has been, such a fantastic thing to be involved in, and she has put so much time and so much effort into this event, and she really, from day one, took this on and sort of made it her own. And it wouldn't be as good as it is if it weren't for her. So I'm just gonna just put that one out there.
That is really, really nice of you to say that, and I'm sure wherever she is, she'll appreciate you giving her a shout out. Thank you ever so much, and
great to talk to you, Helen.
And to you.
All right, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Syed.
Right.
I am now really kind of, exhausted. It's just been incredible listening to all that passion and wonder coming from everyone. I think that this is a wonderful moment to kind of end our show today and just kind of go back outside and revel in the joy that is Formula Student.
And you know what? A lot of people said a lot of nice stuff, but I got to say, though, people don't ever appreciate all the hard work you do for this podcast. I think behind the scenes, I see a lot of it, and some of these amazing guests that you bring in, and I feel like a round of applause is,
I'm going to do it
your way because
massive clap. Yeah.
No, I mean that because all these shows are all thanks to your hard work as well.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, and I will take that one as a win. So, without further ado, I'm going to end with our lovely podcast music, as always. And thank you so much to everyone for joining us. Thank you to our guests and our first live podcast. I think it went quite well, actually. It's not quite Radio 1 Roadshow from 1987, but I think we may be doing this again. So thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you again soon. You've been listening to Impulse to Innovation, the Institution of Mechanical Engineers podcast. Thanks for listening. We'd love to hear from you. So if you'd like to share any news or any feedback with us, then please email us, podcast@imeche.org. All the information on this episode can be found in the episode notes.